how could you create short form videos, Instagram reels that gets millions of views with AI? I mean, if you were able to do that, you could vibe code software, you can build software, and you'd be able to have attention. Take that attention and sell your startup. So we all know how important it is to generate followers, likes, comments, but how do you do it? In this episode, I brought on Cova. Cova is well known for getting millions of views on her Instagram short form. She's worked with the biggest brands on the planet like Nvidia and Adobe. They call her when they want to create short form video that goes viral. Well, what if I told you that I can share her entire workflow with you? How she uses Manus AI, how she uses FreePik, how she uses Adobe Premiere Pro, how she uses Claude Code and Obsidian. Well, you're in for a treat because in this episode, for the very first time ever, she shares her entire workflow. The stuff that she creates, the video content that she creates is gorgeous. I've seen her videos and I love them. In this episode, we will teach you how to do the same. And people who stick around to the end are gonna have this unfair advantage because building audiences in the age of AI is so important. Enjoy the episode. It's gonna get your creative juices flowing. And I can't wait to see what you end up building. So we are super lucky to have Cova on the podcast. She is someone who I've seen just completely blow up, sharing videos that I think are made with AI, some of it at least. And I asked her to come on the pod for the first time ever. She's going to be sharing her AI workflows with us. Cova, for the listener of this pod, for the people watching, by the end of this episode, what are people going to learn?
Yeah, so by the end of this episode, you guys will first understand how to use tools like, for example, Manus to understand how to create like your favorite creator. Second, you'll be able to execute two very simple but very powerful workflows that I use for 90% of my edits that make all of my videos look super, super, super good, no matter where you film it. And finally, I will show you how you can plan your projects in Obsidian and use an AI tool like Cursor or Claude Code to be able to quickly build up a project.
And you're in for a treat because this is something that Cova hasn't shared anywhere. And I think that people who stick around to the end of this episode, they're going to have an unfair advantage. So I'm thank you, Cova, for opening the kimonos box, and give Cova in this episode a like and comment to fire her up. She doesn't do this ever, so thank you for sharing the sauce. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, what is your Manus workflow to take a Cova video and use AI agents to break it down why this is interesting? Can you show this to me?
Ooh, I haven't done this in a while. But let me see if I can do this. Yeah. I think the style of prompt I would be like, I would use is, I really like the style story of this.
I really like the style and story of this video. Break it down in terms of 1, style and aesthetic, keywords.
I think specific keywords would probably work a lot better for myself. And then we'll probably go on Pinterest.
Then you say, number 2, script, transcribe it, and separate it into story sections. Okay.
And then I would just be like, I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for. So break it down in terms of this.
Overall, this, okay. Give me a plan. Okay, that's smart. For how I should replicate it. That's really interesting. So you're putting like the onus on Manus to basically come up with a plan.
Yeah, sometimes I like putting the burden of proof on the AI. Let me try. I'm really curious if it does so with Twitter videos.
And can you walk me through why, or just tell me why do you like Manus versus other products? Or you just find it works well?
Yeah. I like Manus because it's probably the closest thing to an actual agent I've used. Probably like second to OpenClaw from what I've been hearing. But for example, if I gave this like Claude or like Claude Code or Chat or Gemini, it would probably not fully like watch the video, etc., and transcribe it, break it down. For Manus, like they would actually run like scripts to probably like parse the video. I think I've seen like in some of like the process areas, it was talking about like, oh, like I ran this command on the video to extract the transcription, etc. So it's actually doing everything granularly, and doing the task rather than making assumptions, which is what you would get with, something like Claude or Chat.
Yeah, and I think Manus just launched their version of OpenClaw, so basically a hosted version of OpenClaw. I haven't played with it, but I think it's in beta from what I heard.
Amazing. Yeah, I still need to play around with it. I just don't want to give it access to anything without understanding like how secure my data will be.
Totally. So let's just read what's happening here. So this is using a computer. It's going onto your Instagram. It's watching some of your videos. It's observing the Instagram reel. It's actually a computer watching your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm curious what it does because I think the link was not working, but let's see what it's doing. It's so funny how it's operating my own browser. I think you can probably see it go like here. Oh yeah, look, it's operating now, and it's operating my browser here too.
That's cool. That always trips me out.
Yeah, it's super odd. Also, the audio is playing, and I'm really peeved. So that's analyzing the Twitter, and this is analyzing Instagram. That's
cool. Oh wow.
There. Okay, so I think I'm gonna help it out because I don't think I can find the reel. I was getting confused.
Okay, so
I think it found it. I think it found it.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, it's pretty cool. Because I think the link was just wrong, but it's still finding it.
Let's just stay here so we can watch. You think our friend Manus needs a little push in the right direction?
Let's see. I see. It does. It's not able to actually like extract the right video.
Okay, so we've given it the direct link. It's accessing it now with the full URL parameters.
I've never tried this before, like telling it to analyze my own content. But I'm really curious.
Feels weird, right?
Yeah. Usually I think I've done it before with like YouTube videos I really liked or like specific reels.
Okay, direct reel URL is being logged into the exact account. However, I've gathered enough from the search results, captions, and thumbnails to do a thorough analysis. That's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised like that the link isn't working.
I mean, can you upload videos to Manus Direct? I'm pretty sure you can, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if people
I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if people wanted to do that, they don't have to give a link. They can go download a video and upload it.
Yeah, but like if we see what's happening to the video on Twitter, like it's downloading the video. I think it's doing a transcription. It's looking at like all of the frames to kind of understand what is going on. I'm surprised because I remember last time Instagram links worked.
Mm-hmm. Well, things are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? Like agents are now getting more and more popular, and like I'm sure the Instagram team is like,
they probably know what is happening.
Yeah, what is happening? Yeah, but I think this is really interesting, Cova. Like as a place to start for people, it's like, hey, find creators that you really like in your niche, maybe even outside your niche, and try to get Manus to create a plan for you so that it gives you ideas, vocabulary, and just a mood board for how to create scroll stopping videos and content.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm actually like, I was just taking a quick look as we were talking about that. I'm a little bit spooked by like how well I got my process here, because right now like it just analyzed what I was aesthetic keywords. Yeah, this is pretty much exactly like my vibe.
Okay, so let's just I'm going to speak through scroll up a little bit. So it says video breakdown and replication plan. This video operates within a highly specific visual language that blends maker and hacker culture with kawaii nostalgia. Do you know what that is? Yeah,
kawaii is like it's like a very cute characters, etc. Aesthetic. originating
Okay.
in like Japan.
That's how I'm not in the niche, That's how I'm so out of it, But cinematic bedroom aesthetics, every element from the typography to the lighting is deliberate and cohesive. Could not agree more. Overall vibe, dark academia maker, cozy hacker den,
great.
bedroom devlog, personal tech nostalgia. Is that
everything.
right?
Yeah. That's really, really good. I'm really surprised by like it's separated my typography into titles, section headers, and captions. Because that's exactly what I do. That's like in my style guide, I have those three things. B-roll aesthetic. Like
animated
all of these
segment,
don't matter too much.
You all do that. You do that.
I do all of these things. The things I actively think about are like the first 6.
Right.
But like the others are like great because I think for myself it provides a little bit of my knowledge about like the things I like, so I can be like probably like hyper dialed in.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. This is the perfect transcript.
So part 2, script, transcription, and story sections. The video is 65 seconds and follows a clean 5-act build log structure. Section 1, the hook. This is day 1 of building a Tamagotchi flash drive. Here's the idea. This little guy lives off your files. Add files to your drives and he gets chunkier. No files and he gets sad. Wow. And then it says what it does. It opens the finished product with the rainbow Tamagotchi, immediately states the concept in 2 seconds. The hook is visual first. You see the device. That's true. Then verbal. You hear the mechanic. No preamble, no intro.
This is great.
So then it goes into the conflicts and stakes, introduces the creator's personal challenge with zero hardware experience, which creates relatability and stakes.
This is so granular. I'm actually because like, for example, like this section is punctuated by a VFX shot of retro tech devices orbiting around the creator. This was probably a 0.5 second shot, but like they got it. It was really awesome.
They got it.
Yeah.
The build section.
Yeah. I have like 3 steps.
Pretty cool. Steps, circle numbers, nailed it. Then the problem and resolution, classic 3-beat comedic dramatic arc. Too slow, too fast, just right. Interesting.
This is awesome because I like the way I think about it is I follow like the hero's journey, which is pretty much what this is. Like you have a hook, you have a hook in context, then you have conflict, then you have like problem solving, etc., and then resolution. And then CTA, which is like a very creator thing to do. But yeah, I'm just seeding like in the next couple episodes what will happen. But yeah, it's like a perfect, I'm actually surprised by how good this is.
And then part 3, it says replication plan. So this is how you could recreate a video in this style for your own project. Define your bit. So the concept hooked. Every great video in this format has a 1-sentence concept that is both technically interesting and emotionally resonant. Cova is a flash drive whose character gets chunkier the more files you add. Before filming anything, write your own version. Thing that does something emotionally resonant based on a technical mechanic. The concept must be explainable in under 10 seconds and have a visual payoff you can show immediately.
I actually really love this. I don't follow this myself. I always use the 1-sentence concept thing. That's great. But I've never thought about it in this way. But it sounds like a great direction.
Step 2. And I'm curious your thoughts on this one too. Film your talking head segments. Setup. Film in a dark room at night. Blackout curtains. The background should have multiple monitors or screens visible, ideally with different content playing. Use RGB lighting, purple, teal, etc. Wear dark and solid clothing. Shoot vertically. Hold your project or hardware in your hands during talking head shots. It grounds the video in the physical world and gives your hand something to do. Delivery, short, punchy sentences, 1 idea per breath, casual first-person language, chunkier. Write your script in advance, but deliver it conversationally, not recite. What do you think?
Well, it's good. Like it's basically it. It's very basic, but it's just like it's like so long. Like all you can do is just like film in a dark room, use RGB lighting. The clothing doesn't really matter. I wear anything. Shoot on your phone. Yeah, this seems like pretty basic, but I'm just surprised by like how well it got like the process. Like I would just film the talking head separately and it's like my first thing, and then I would shoot like all of my B-roll at once.
So it says you need 3 types of B-roll. Step 3, use your phone portrait macro mode. Get extremely close to circuit boards, pins, and wires. Screen recordings. Use Figma, Photoshop while working on the project. Capture the creative process in real time. I think that's cool. Product reveal shots.
Yeah.
Film the finished device in a natural light near a window with a plant or clean surface. this contrast is with the darkroom and signals completion. And that's something that you can do using Adobe Premiere and FreePik and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they have that in there.
Yeah, I really like this. I think the one thing, like I would just change screen recording to process shots, because screen recording is like one part of the process. But if you're working with like hardware electronics, you just want to capture like builds at like key stages. When something's working, when something stops working, just take a shot of it. And it's just helpful as B-roll down the line.
Step 4. For the explainer segments, 2 options. After Effects. Option A, After Effects in motion. Draw simple line art diagrams and animate them with a glow effect. Option B is CapCut and DaVinci. Use the neon or glow effect preset on simple shapes drawn in the editor. Less control, but faster.
Oh yeah, this is good. Like option A, After Effects, like I use Scanline. I don't think I use dot matrix, but I do use Scanline. I use pure black background and orange stroke with the Scanline. So it's pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
You maybe add like a glow on top and stuff. Yeah.
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 Step 5, design your typography system. You got a main title card, chunky, rounded, multi-gradient. You got section headers, and you got word-by-word captions.
Oh, this is great. I do like Fredoka. It's like a font I use, but it's not the exact same one. Yeah. Laura is also good. Play for Display is also good. This is like redundant because it was already covered in like the typography style, like above right here, like typography titles. But like, and you would define this before you edit at all, but it's good. Yeah.
Create the, we'll do the last few really quickly. Create the VFX physical as backshot. So this is the most technically demanding element. Film yourself against a dark background, photograph or source PNG cutouts, and then layer the objects on top of talking head footage and CapCut, etc. Animate each object and add a slight motion blur to make them feel physical.
Yeah, this is pretty hard. I intentionally do it so like no one can really create a shot like that.
Yeah, so good luck for the listeners.
So good luck
on that.
Yeah.
Step 7, edit to the script structure. Follow the 5-act structure, adapting it to your project. Hook, conflict, the build, problem resolution, T's and CTA. You talked about that.
This is really great. I really like this.
Audio and music. Use a lo-fi, slightly nostalgic background track. 70 to 90 BPMs, warm, crunchy texture. What do you think?
Wow. What an interesting way to put a name on it. Like the way I did it was just vibes. Like this feels like the right song to use with it. I used to play Undertale, so I just used, this upbeat 8-bit song. But I like describing it as like lo-fi, crunchy texture, like chiptune adjacent or lo-fi hip hop. Like with 8-bit elements, like that's exactly the type of music I would use with something like this for like nostalgic tech. I think it might be interesting to ask like AI, if you're not really well versed to like putting together music and visuals, what kind of music goes well with, a certain kind of visual, especially if you don't have a grasp on it. So this is cool.
And then it says there's like a little post checklist. So before you post your video, double check that your video is vertical. Your opening 3 seconds show the finished project.
I don't like this.
Concept is stated in the first 10 seconds. All 3 typography styles are applied consistently. Captions are word by word, not full sentences. The runtime is under 75 seconds. Caption text in the post itself mirrors the video's tones, lowercase, casual. Post caption ends with the series hook, day 1, episode 1, part 1. How is that?
Well, Manus always has like a checklist if you use it at the very end, but you should just disregard it because you should already have done these things like way earlier on. If you're checking them in the end, it's just like it's already over. So I would just disregard this. But I think in general, as a style guide, this is like really spot on. And for like an analysis of the example shot, it's like a perfect transcript. So if I don't want to like remember every sentence and like type it down as I'm analyzing a video, this is really great.
And this is something that if you're trying to create content, this is one style guide. Like you might have 10 creators that you look up to, and you might like something. You might say, I really like Cova's nostalgic vibe, but I really like someone else's, the way they do music or the way they do storytelling. So, I think it's about bringing this helps. This is just a creative process to help you get to, whatever it is going to work for you.
Yeah, exactly. I think every creator is kind of a mashup of different kinds of creators and different kinds of aesthetics they like. Yeah,
absolutely.
Everyone has the capability to do exactly what I do because the technology is there.
So you're going to show basically how a non-technical person can take any video and just make it look 2,000 times better with some little AI tweaks that you're going to share. And that could be like enhancing static shots, that could be transitions, anything else. And anyone should be able to do this, right?
Yeah, I think anyone should just be able to do this.
Okay, let's see what you got.
Yeah, so I can show a couple of examples. I think the first one if you have any kind of like static talking shot. So for example, for this one, I already had it like pretty well lit, but so this is like from a YouTube video I'm editing. If I take away like all of these tweaks, and this is just like the original footage, you can see that the camera is not moving. It's just there. This can be a phone shot, etc. I just need to take a single frame and I'm going to bring it into FreePik, which is a place to get all of the latest image and video models. Yeah, so in FreePik, you can use the image editor, and it basically surfaces a bunch of different models I could use. I would put this still frame, and I really like to use Nanabanana Pro, so that's kind of my go-to. And yeah, this is super, super quick. I would really prefer to use like the visual feature, because then you can directly annotate on the image and kind of specify what you would like to add or remove. So I already have like a nice bouquet going on, but it might be nice to add a couple more objects to like the left side to kind of balance out the frame. Yeah, so here, I don't know, Greg, what do you think I should add here?
I mean, you're the pro, but I would say more flowers. Is that crazy?
No, we can do more flowers. Let's do more flowers. Yeah. You can go with like more detailed prompts. Like I can be like,
yeah, like when you're prompting, when you're doing visual prompts, are you being really specific, or you're kind of general?
Ooh, people are surprised by how general I can be with my prompts. Sometimes I just put like orange tulips in a vase, or I say more flowers. And the reason I do this is I like to enable multiple generations to kind of like find what I look for. Like I like seeing what the model comes up with. I also find that when you have simpler prompts, the model tends towards output it's actually good at, as opposed to giving a very specific prompt. So I can put orange tulips in a vase, and here I can put, I don't know, like a plush, like orangutan plush. Okay. And then it could be sitting on the windowsill. And yeah, this is just super, super quick. All you do is annotate the image and you press generate. Let me make sure it's back on Nanabanana Pro.
And you're seeing the best results with Nanabanana Pro. So you're just most of the time going there?
Yeah, I think Nanabanana Pro is great for image gen. Yeah, for video gen, it varies a little bit. Like I like Seedance, I like Kling.
Like why even, someone listening to this is probably like, well, why would I even do this? This looks pretty good as is,
Yeah. Okay. That's a great question. Perhaps I shouldn't use this image because I already like took care to make sure it's well lit and stuff like that. But I can show an example where it just completely transformed the background and made it look super, super nice. Let me see if there's any others. Yeah, like this one's a great one. So this was the original background. Like it's just super bare. You have like a full wall that's just nothing on it. Yeah, just see what I did with everything. Like I added fairy lights, I added a little window behind me, a vinyl record player, a fan, like bookshelves, everything. And this is just so much nicer than the original. So gonna cut back to the original right here and then cut back to the new one.
Wow. Yeah. And I think like for people listening, it's not even just the aesthetics that like make it more interesting. It's the fact that now your retention is probably going to go up
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
on Instagram. And if your retention goes up, Instagram is going to share your video with new audiences, right? So you're going to get more views, more likes, more comments. So there's like a real like business use case for this, right?
Yeah. Now I'm definitely known as a creator for my visual style and for these insane backgrounds, insane sets. But all of this was done literally in my dorm room, for example. No longer is, Hollywood level studio sets kind of just get kept to those studios. Any kind of creator can just do it in their bedroom. So yeah, that's it. There's a real business use case. I would not be a creator if I did not use AI. Oh, here we go. So now you have the orangutan plush, and then you have a couple more flowers. And if you can take a look at the original. So it kind of put the flowers behind me, and also the orangutan plush.
It's interesting because like the original photo I thought was actually pretty good, but now that I'm seeing the plush and the more flowers, I feel like it's more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It always is the case that you can make a set look nicer. I think perhaps like my original set was already really, really nice, but you can imagine how many tweaks you can do like to the edges and just make it look like ridiculously nice. And no one can really tell the difference.
So what would you do now? So it's like you would save this and put it back into Adobe Premiere. I think that's the tool you use.
Yeah, I would save this and put it back into Adobe Premiere. You can also use any kind of video software. It's all the same, kind of like Notion.
Why do you use Adobe Premiere?
I use Adobe Premiere because I just want like the most flexible software for anything I want to do. Like with Adobe Premiere, you have so many different types of effects. You have like everything from like VR effects to a ton of different types of blurs. It's just so granular that I can have full control over my edit. But CapCut it's really simple to do this in CapCut too.
Right. So you can do this in CapCut, which is basically like a nerfed down, more stripped down, non-technical version of Premiere Pro.
Yeah, precisely. So if I take the image, it's all the same principles of just masking out the area. I think I really like the orangutan plush, and I really want to keep them there. So I would go ahead and mask them out and then just put them right here. The one caveat is that because it's overlapping a little bit with my shoulder, it would be hard to like fully mask it out perfectly. And that's why in FreePik, I would probably need to like prompt again and ask them to put the orangutan plush like a little bit farther away. But yeah, like the same masking feature is pretty much available in every kind of editing software, and masks are your best friend when you use AI. It's just because like if you modify a specific aspect and you want to overlay it on top of existing footage, then you just have to use a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll move on. But point being, you might need to take a few tries, but once you get a mask that's perfect, you just need to like draw a little circle or something around the generation. Just try to make sure the generation isn't too close to your body. Otherwise, if your body moves, then you can tell that it's fake. And yeah, you can add things like orangutan plushies, more plants. You can just, especially if you're in not as decorated a room and you don't have nice things framing your face, etc., you can just easily add them in. So the second thing I can show is how to do transitions. And this is always helpful if you want like really gripping like hooks. Like for example, I can show this transition. I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe I should play it out loud so you can hear it a little bit. Hey Cova. So what do you do? Well, I am an artist. But you just graduated from Stanford. Okay, so there was 2 parts that were AI here, and it's just super simple transitions. So this one. Hey Cova. So what do you do? Like the kid bouncing, like that's not real. And this is also not real. I'm an artist. Yeah, that was just not real. That was an impossible shot. The way you would do transitions like that are you would take start frame, end frame. So I would also go back on FreePik and I go to video generator So the way you would do that is you have your star frame, and the star frame is just like the image of me as a kid. And I tend to like Seedance. Seedance Pro is great because it also gives you audio, and you would get like the kid laughing and stuff, and it's usually pretty nice. So I can do Seedance. I would give it probably high resolution, maybe 4 seconds on audio. And people are always unsure of how to prompt. For video gen, the prompt is a little bit interesting. You always want to be really specific about what the camera is doing. So I would be like, oh, the camera is static. And then I would go ahead and say whatever else is happening. You want to describe it like a story. You never want to write a very generic description. Yeah, kind of talk through it like you're narrating what's happening in, a book you just picked up randomly. So on the table is a picture of the kid. The kid is waving their arms, jubilous, while okay. With glee, while the photo doesn't move. I would also probably not use like doesn't or not, things like that.
Why is that?
For some reason, I think models don't really understand, don't have this or do not do this. They would actually do it because of the keyword that's present in the prompt. Because they're not actually like comprehending, they're comprehending like a string of words. Like the order doesn't matter as much. So I think camera is static is like positive terminology, so it would work well. We can try this, but there's another way that could work well. With AI, there's always a bit of unpredictability. You can do something, I like to use prompt editor. So I would just kind of describe what is happening. Camera on the table is a picture of a kid. And then I want the kid in the center of the picture to be waving their arms gleefully while the picture doesn't move.
And sorry, what is prompt editor?
Yeah, it's kind of helping you write what would be a good prompt.
Okay, so it's helping you optimize the prompt for the model to get the most out of it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Okay, and now I have a prompt. I would just look through it and make sure it's kind of saying what I wanted it to say. Yeah, this should probably be pretty good.
So it sounds like with the prompt editor, more times than not, you're getting like pretty good output.
Yeah, always. Yeah, so a lot of these I did either with a prompt editor or with a very simple prompt. Like for example, this one, I just said, the brown book flips open and zooms into my writing. And I had, this is the starting shot and this is the ending shot.
So what you're doing basically is you're creating 3 or 4 second clips and then you're stitching it together. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Here, I'm kind of having 2 different shots in the same scene. But instead of like doing a direct cut from like here to here, it would just not tell as good a story in the beginning. And I think this is also like the aha moment for people when watching a YouTube video that would get them to stay for the rest of the video. Because the first 15 seconds is genuinely like so important. So you kind of want to make sure you have the aha moment that makes people stay. And I think this was definitely one of them. Here we go. Let's see how it looks. Yeah. It worked the way we wanted it to. The camera isn't as static. So I think we can try again with like camera stationary. Yeah, so this is super simple, both of these, but like they're how I do 90% of my craziest shots in this.
Cova, anything else you want to say?
I guess like I thought I have been having, which may or may not be interesting, is that creator culture has gotten so much more fragmented that really like the creators of the future to some extent need to think about scale a lot, but they really need to now think about differentiation. And one of the ways to differentiate is to be really smart about using the right tools. And for myself, it's my differentiating factor is the artistry that comes with my content, and that AI helps me achieve a lot. So I think it will be something interesting for every person who wants to start telling stories and creating content to think about.
And can you give a rundown of the tools you use just so we have it? You use Manus, you use Adobe Premiere, you use FreePik. What other tools are you using?
Yeah, for sure. I can also bracket them up. So for video editing, I like to use Premiere Pro and After Effects for visual effects, if you want to go crazy with it. For image gen, I like to use Nanabanana Pro. For video gen, my go-to recently has been Seedance, but you can never go wrong with Kling, especially Kling 3. For research on existing videos and not having to go through every step of the process, I do like to use Manus. I think right now it's a little broken with Instagram links, so might need to look into it. Other tools I like to use on a daily basis as a creator, yeah, I love using Obsidian with Claude Code to plan all of my projects. I love using Poke to organize everything I need to do in my daily life and kind of break it down day by day. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
And just curious, I won't, we'll end here, but how do you, I'm just curious about Obsidian and Claude Code in general. You don't need to show your Obsidian, but because I know it's a very personal vault, but how...
I can show it. I don't care.
Okay. How do you think about using, as a creator, how do you think about using Obsidian and Claude Code?
Yeah. Well, the thing is with notes and projects, it feels incredibly static about a year ago. But since then, I've just really loved, I can keep a bunch of different templates. I have my own storyboard template for everything, to keep track of all of the things that we need to get to create a video. And this is my template. I also have an editor storyboard template because I'm currently trying to find an editor and I want to sometimes adapt my own template to something that is readable for an editor. I keep everything from every single project in Obsidian. So if you look at that, for example, I have my Tamagotchi video and I often bring this into like Cursor, for example, or Claude Code, and I would open up my Obsidian vault. Let me do that. My vault, and I could just be like, oh, turn my future arrow script into the self storyboard template. So if I already have a script ready, and it's this one, and I want to turn it into a storyboard, I have the template ready, and it can do it for me. I also do other things, like sometimes I go through mass restructuring and I'm like, hey, like this other process worked well, maybe organize my projects, using this kind of folder and using this kind of like folder structure and nomenclature. So I would just immediately ask like Cursor or Claude Code. Cursor's a bit faster if I use Cursor with like Claude. But yeah, I really think it's kind of like a superpower for anyone who's writing their stuff in files. You can easily index into any file and find what you need. You can easily turn one file type into another kind of type, like from script to storyboard. Yeah.
So is the idea like a good place to start for people to create templates? Is that a good place to start?
Yes. If you have like a way of doing things, like I really am a big believer in systems.
Yep. In
order to scale content, you always need to build great systems. And one way to do that is to have AI execute on the systems you don't want to do by having like a well-documented approach already. For example, I also have a Cova cut style guide, my own thing, that I keep to, so when I'm turning a script into a storyboard and starting to fill out that storyboard, I can ask Claude to do a first pass following my style guide.
Right, makes sense. And then if you're using tools like Manus to create your style guide, basically you just, you can export that to Obsidian and then sort of edit it yourself. And then now all of a sudden tools like Cursor and Claude Code could access it.
Exactly. It's super awesome. Like just in like the minute we were talking, it turned the script into this nice table, so I can now find all the things I need and review it. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Cova, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us. For folks who want to follow Cova and her journey and all the great content she's doing, I will include links in the show notes, in the description. Obviously, her stuff is top notch, and I encourage everyone to go check it out. Cova, is there anything else you want to leave people with?
I guess like the last thing would be there is no better time than now to make art. So you should go and do that.
100%. Quit listening to us and just go make some art.
Yes.
Get off. Get off this thing. Go do it. Go have fun. Have a creative day, everyone. And we will see you next time. And thanks again, Cova.
Thanks, Greg.